Have you ever felt that life is testing you beyond your limits? That no matter how hard you try, nothing changes and all you can do is wait? This is the story of a man who discovered that sometimes patience is not weakness. It is the strongest weapon we can ever carry, and his patience turned his darkest hardship into the greatest victory of his life. Stay with me till the end, because maybe this is the story you needed to hear today. There was once a man named Elian, not a name you'd find in history books, not a famous celebrity, just a simple man like you and me. Elian grew up in a small coastal town where the sea was both friend and enemy. His father was a fisherman, a man of calloused hands and sunburnt skin. His mother worked long hours stitching clothes for neighbors. From the very beginning, life wasn't easy, but Elian, he was different. Where others complained, he stayed silent. Where others rushed, he observed. He was patient, not because he chose to be, but because life forced him to be. By the time Elian was 21 years old, he carried responsibilities heavier than most men his age. His father had fallen ill. His mother's eyesight had weakened, and the family's survival rested on him. He worked at the docks, hauling nets, carrying crates, anything that paid even a few coins. Each day was exhausting, but he endured. Yet patience is easy when struggles are small. The true test comes when life strikes with storms. An Elian storm came one night in winter. A fire broke out in their wooden home. The flames consumed everything they had: clothes, memories, his father's fishing boat, gone. They barely escaped alive. Standing in the cold night, with nothing but ashes behind them, Elian's mother whispered, "Elian, what will we do now?" He had no answer. All he had was patience. Weeks turned into months. They moved into a small shed given by a neighbor. Food became scarce, and then fate struck again. Elian's father passed away. The man who once taught him how to tie nets, how to read the tides, was gone. Elian felt his world collapsing. He wanted to scream, to question God, to demand answers. But he remembered something his father used to say: "The sea rewards those who wait. The impatient drown." So he waited, worked harder, endured silently. But patience doesn't mean you stop feeling pain. Every night, when his mother fell asleep, Elian sat outside, staring at the horizon, asking himself, "How long? How long must I wait for light to return?" One morning, an announcement spread across the town. The government planned to build a large port near their coastline. It meant opportunity, jobs, a chance to rise, but also it meant the small fishermen of the town would lose their place. Many were angry. Some planned protests. Elian listened quietly. Where others rushed to fight, he chose to wait, to watch, to understand. For months, chaos erupted. Boats were destroyed, livelihoods ruined. But Elian, with quiet patience, saved every coin he earned at the docks. Instead of fighting the storm, he let it pass. And then, when everyone was exhausted, when fishermen gave up and left, Elian stepped forward. He applied for one of the first positions at the new port, not as a fisherman, but as a manager of cargo shipments. The work was harder than anything he had ever done. It required reading, writing, dealing with people from cities far beyond his little town. He was mocked for being just a fisherman's son. He was rejected, corrected, humiliated. There were nights he thought of quitting, but patience whispered, "Not yet." So he studied at night. He watched, listened, learned from every insult, every rejection. Years passed. Slowly, painfully, he climbed, from carrying crates to supervising workers, from supervising workers to handling shipments. His patience was building him, quietly, invisibly. After nearly a decade, Elian was trusted to oversee one of the largest projects at the port, a shipment worth millions. If it succeeded, His career would soar. If it failed, he would be ruined. And then disaster struck. A massive storm hit the coast. Ships were delayed. Cargo was at risk of being lost. Panic spread among workers. Everyone shouted, argued, rushed. But Elian remembered his father's words, "The impatient drown." He stood calm, directed workers with steady hands. He waited for the right moment to act, and when the storm finally eased, he moved quickly, saving the cargo, securing the port, and proving his worth. The very next month, Elian Vora was promoted to head of operations. The fisherman's son had become the man who commanded the sea's gateway. Years later, when asked how he survived all those hardships, Elian smiled and said, "Everyone thinks victory comes from speed, from rushing, from forcing life. But the truth is, my greatest victories came from patience, because patience is not waiting and doing nothing. Patience is waiting while still preparing, and when the right moment comes, you rise." So, my friend, maybe right now you're in your storm. Maybe you've lost something. Maybe you feel stuck and you wonder, how much longer? Remember this, patience is not weakness. It's silent strength. It's choosing not to drown in chaos, but to rise when the tide finally turns. Elian's story proves one thing: hardship is never the end. If you endure with patience, your greatest victory might already be on your way. So don't give up. Your storm will pass, and when it does, the world will see your victory.